Last week, we heard the story in Mark of Jesus using his voice to calm the seas. This week, in Mark, we hear Jesus using his touch to heal people. If this isn't a way for Mark to help us understand that God works through Jesus, and that God has given Jesus the power over all of creation. Touch is a powerful thing. It's pretty commonly accepted that if an infant is not given affection, does not feel the touch of human hands after birth, the child will be socially challenged, physically challenged for the rest of their life. Because touch is such an important thing for humanity. What we see today is Jesus' power of touch on humanity. And that power of touch is the love God has for creation, for humanity. Just by Jesus touching the girl, just by the woman touching the cloak of Jesus, they are healed. Both Jairus and the woman had hope, had faith in Christ, which is why they went to see Jesus in the first place. For the woman, she knew just by being in the crowd, she could be put to death. She could be stoned because she was ritually impure. And by being in that crowd, she made the rest of the crowd ritually impure. So she had the hope that Jesus could save her life. She had the hope that the crowd would not turn and recognize her. Because for the previous 12 years, while she suffered, she was untouchable. She was an outcast. She was somebody as bad as a leper to her community, to her family. And she reached out and touched the cloak of Jesus. She had hope. Hope is something that all of us have in our lives. All of us have hopes and dreams, of what we want to accomplish, what we want for ourselves, for our children. I'm not sure whether those hopes necessarily include reaching out and touching someone for healing. But those hopes and dreams that we have can change our lives. I'm showing my age now, but Ma and Pa Bell used to have a tagline that says, "Reach out and touch someone." Today, that probably wouldn't be acceptable. But what they really meant was pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Because in talking, we're touching them. We're touching their lives. It's about touch. It's about hope. And what Jesus brings to Jairus and the woman is hope in healing. Jesus brings hope to people. For us, our hope is in a risen Christ. A Christ who meets us when we call out. A Christ who can change who we are. This week, the ELCA, the Lutheran Church, has their triennial youth gathering. It's in Houston this year. There are 31,000 high school Lutherans inundating Houston right now. It's an impressive thing to watch. They live stream every night their gathering. They gather in a stadium similar to our First Union Center, the Spectrum, whatever enclosed place. And they all gather together and worship God. Last night was the final closing gathering, and they pulled no stops. The final act of the evening was the contemporary Christian band 10th Avenue North. If you don't know who 10th Avenue North is, look onto iTunes or YouTube, because their message is really important for each of us. But last night, one of the songs they sang is "You Are More." And the lyrics go, and if I could sing it, I would. But you don't want that, because I want people here after the sermon. You are more than the choices that you've made. You are more than the sum of your past mistakes. You are more than the problems that you create. You've been remade. Imagine 31,000 teens hearing those words, hearing that they are better than what they think, that in a risen Christ is reaching out and touching them, and that they are remade. The good news for each of us is that it's just not those 31,000 kids that are being remade. Every week as we come forward to receive the Eucharist, God in Jesus Christ is reaching out to each of us, offering Himself to us in order that we too may hear those words. You are more than the choices that you make. You are more than the sum of your past mistakes. You are more than the problems you create. You are remade. Like Jairus' daughter, and the woman who touches Jesus' cloak. We too are remade. Thanks be to God.